It was the middle of autumn in the small town of Levocha in Slovakia. The weather had been gloomy for the past few days. Luckily, Miss Mary Minarovich had stocked her home with some essentials beforehand, foreshadowing a big storm to come. And sure enough, the rain started to pour since morning today. Here is the tulip poplar tonic. Tell your mother take 2 spoons twice every day. It will help bring down the fever and any pain. Thank you, Madam Mary. Is there anything you want me to bring you from the market? That's all right. The weather doesn't look good. Go on now. Hurry and run back home. Mary Minarovich was known for her knowledge of herbal medicines. Over the years, she had become like a village doctor to the people of her town. The people respected her and came to her not only for her remedies and cures, but Mary was also an expert midwife. And if there was one person the townspeople trusted and preferred to call to help deliver their children, it was Madam Mary. By the afternoon, the winds began to pick up. The road outside Mary's cottage was now filled with the comforting aroma of her borscht soup. When the sky started to darken, she went around her home and lit her lanterns. Sitting by her window, she enjoyed the breeze as she dipped the coarse pieces of bread into her steaming soup. Life was just as simple for her, living all alone in the small cottage. Suddenly, hearing a knock on her door in the middle of the night, Mary got out of bed, lit her lantern again, and rushed to check who had come. She was surprised to see a tall man standing under the shade of her home. Madam Mary, would you please come with me? My wife, it's her time, he said anxiously. Levocha was a small town, and Mary knew most of the people here, but she couldn't seem to recognize this man. You don't seem like you're from this town, and on a night like this, how did you get here in this horrible weather? And how can I go in this heavy rain? My name is Andrzej. I live in the neighboring town. I came here by my carriage. Please, Madam Mary, come with me. I really need your help. Mary looked out to see the man's carriage outside her home. It was a donkey carriage. In this mud and rain, your donkey won't be able to pull us, and if your wife is truly in labor already, by the time we reach the next town, she would have probably given birth. No, Madam Mary, the donkey will be able to take us there. We'll reach there on time. Please, I request you to come with me. Seeing the desperateness in the man's eyes, Mary agreed to go. All right, but let me take some items with me. We'll need it for the delivery. It's all right, Madam Mary. I made all the preparations at home, but the labor pain started so suddenly, I had to come get help. So Mary wore her cloak and followed the man to his carriage. She quickly climbed in and sat inside as he came to close the door behind her. I'll be driving the carriage as fast as I can. The mud and water might splash onto here, so please don't open the doors. But if you sit outside and drive the carriage in this rain, you'll get sick. It's all right, Madam Mary. I'll be fine. With that, the man quickly closed the door and hurried off onto his donkey. Mary sat in the back, listening to the rain pour heavily above her as the carriage pulled off. It was probably going to take a long time to get to the next town. But a few minutes into sitting, Mary was a little surprised how smooth the carriage was running. She had expected the ride to be rather difficult, getting stuck in the slippery roads here. She pushed open the door just a little and peered outside. It was dark. The carriage was traveling quite fast, but strange as it was, Mary couldn't feel it shake. It was oddly still. She closed the doors again and sat there patiently. When suddenly, the carriage halted and Andrzej opened the door. We're here. Here? Wow, we got here to the next village so fast. Mary got down, staring at a small wooden cottage just a distance away. She looked at the donkey bewildered. It wasn't even tired. But what was more strange was that there was no mud on its legs. Yet they rode here so fast in this weather. Andrzej tied his donkey to the fence and led Mary inside. Mary was surprised when she walked into a near-empty house. All there was a bed upon which lay a young woman clutching onto her blankets in pain. Mary hurried to assist her. What is your name? Katerina. Don't worry, Katerina. Everything will be fine. Can you tell me how long has it been since the labor started? It's been a few hours, and the pain is getting worse. Feeling the young woman's stomach, Mary nodded with a smile. It seems that the baby will be here soon. Mary peered around the empty room before she called Anjay. I'll need a clean cotton cloth. Yes, Madam Mary, I'll bring it right away, Anjay said before he rushed to one of the rooms. Mary was startled when he came back in only seconds and handed her the cloth. Where is your stove? We'll have to start a fire and boil some water. Hurry, there's not much time. Mary sat beside Katerina, trying to console her as she waited for the boiled water. You're in pain. Don't worry, it will be fine. It's only a matter of time and patience. I can see your husband cares a lot for you, but he's a bit impatient, isn't he? He worries a lot for me. It was just minutes before Anjay walked in carrying the pot of boiling water with his bare hands. Mary jumped up to help him. What are you doing? You'll burn yourself, she said, quickly taking hold of the pot with a cloth. It's all right, Madam Mary. I'll be fine, Anjay said, simply letting go, unharmed. Mary didn't waste any time to place the cotton cloth into the water to purify it when Katerina suddenly cried out in pain. It's time. It's time. It's a baby boy. Mary quickly wrapped the newborn in a dry, clean piece of cloth and placed him in his mother's arms. Concerned for Katerina, she quickly inquired, Are you all right? Katerina looked at her in gratitude. I love him. I can't live without him. Mary smiled as she watched the couple admire their child. A moment they'd cherish forever. That night, she helped Katerina clean up and showed her a few tips to take care of the child. She gave Anjay a list of some foods and herbs that would help the mother and child heal over the days, before she prepared herself to get home. The night isn't over. Why don't you drop me home? Of course, Madam Mary. Anjay brought out a pouch and offered it to her. You don't know how much joy you've brought into our lives today. I don't know how to thank you. No, I can't take this. Just getting to see your beautiful child was rewarding enough, and I don't have to tell you to take care of your wife. You're already doing such a good job. Anjay timidly chuckled. I love her more than anything. I know, she also loves you more than anything in this world. Madam Mary, please, name our child. Mary chuckled, looking at the baby nestled in blankets in his mother's arms. Adam. There was only a few hours to dawn when Mary got onto the carriage. Anjay returned her home in just a matter of minutes. She bid him farewell, watching him ride off again. Letting out a deep breath, Mary went inside her cottage and sat down, wondering about her strange experience tonight. He wasn't a human. Who was he? Mary had realized something wasn't right the moment the carriage had set off earlier that night. She found it odd how it was running so smooth. When she peered out the door, she was shocked to see the carriage floating an arm's length above the ground. When they reached there, she was surprised to see how Anjay brought everything from the other room so fast, as if in a blink of an eye. But when he had gone to get the water, Mary had forgotten to tell him to soak the cloth in it, so she had left Katerina and went to find him, only to see something that shocked her even more. Anjay didn't go to another room. There was no other room. He had gone outside and started the fire, and Anjay was holding the pot above it with his bare hands. But all her questions were answered the moment Katerina had delivered the child. Mary held the baby in her arms, knowing he was no ordinary child. He was without a navel. Katerina, however, was a human, and Mary was worried for her, wondering if she was safe here with Anjay. And seeing the concern on her face, Katerina also understood that Mary now knew. Are you all right? Katerina looked at her in gratitude. I love him. I can't live without him. Katerina was a beautiful young woman who lived in a cottage by the mountains with her mother and her father. Every afternoon, she would run out behind her home and sometimes go out a little far to her favorite place up in the mountain. She loved spending time there because when she would go, she would always find a special fruit left behind for her. Fruits that she had never seen before, sometimes a guava, sometimes a pomegranate or a cherimoya. Katerina, why do you go there all by yourself instead of playing like the others in the field? Because, father, every day a friend of mine leaves a gift for me there. A gift? What gift? Katerina showed her father a pitaya. He took it in his hands, bewildered. Where did your friend get this fruit? You can't find these here in Slovakia. I know, it's strange, isn't it? Every day he leaves me a gift. Fruits that look so bizarre. Nobody knows what it is in this village, but they're always so sweet. Things went on like this until one morning, Katerina returned to her favorite spot and closed her eyes, waiting for her friend to come. When she opened them, she saw yet another beautiful exotic fruit. But this time, she didn't pick it up. I want to see you. Show yourself to me, or I won't have your gift. She tried to call her friend, but he didn't respond to her, and Katerina returned home empty-handed for 3 days. I know you can hear me. Why don't you talk to me? But it was silent. Then I guess I'll be leaving again. If you don't show yourself to me, I don't want your gifts. And on the 4th day, when Katerina turned to leave, she froze in place, hearing a voice behind her. Katerina. She turned around, overjoyed to finally see her friend. But her friend was awfully shy. I know you're not like me. You're not like us. You bring me fruit from the land of the desert, sometimes from the land of the dragons, and sometimes from the land of spices. No human can do that. Her friend smiled at her without a word. Have you fallen in love with me? First time I saw you when you were playing here, I couldn't take my eyes off of you. You were so beautiful. Katerina chuckled, seeing him shy. He couldn't even look at her in the eyes. Then why don't you marry me? 2 weeks had gone by since that strange night. Mary still hadn't been able to forget about it. It had been yet another beautiful day today. Mary went around her home, lighting her lanterns, when suddenly she heard a soft laughter outside her cottage. Barely catching a glimpse of a young boy outside, she rushed to catch him in the act. So it's you who's been stealing my fruits every day. What's your name? Where are you from? She playfully demanded to know. The young boy looked at her with a naughty smile. You know who I am. I'm from the nearby village. I'm Adam. Mary looked at the boy bewildered. It was the child. But before she could ask anything more, Adam vanished. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.